Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sprint 227 review. This is a normal 2-week sprint, and let's get started. I'll start with the overview, Jeffrey on the UI, Adam on providers, and Joe on the platform. This sprint was a little light with only 37 PRs merged this sprint. A lot of the team members have been taking some vacation time for themselves and getting a much needed rest. And on the breakdown, we have 11 bugs, 9 enhancements, and 3 of the rest. And over to Jeffrey on the UI.
Good morning. In Sprint 227, a total of 16 PRs got merged into the UI classic repository, out of which 6 are related to bug fixes, 4 are for enhancements, 2 for technical depths, and 4 others. I can explain about them in the following slides. A fixed task permission issue. So we had a situation like when a user lacks permission for either all task or my task in the settings page and navigates back to the settings task page, we get an authorization error. Gilbert fixed them by assigning the correct asset privileges in the MIQ task controllers. Next slide. This PR is related to a bug fix when we try to reconfigure multiple VMs. This bug occurs when a blank string was returned instead of an object to be used in the schema to render the form. After slightly refactoring the code, we were able to bring this form up. Next slide. An error screen was displayed when a user without any modify permissions visited the My Settings page. By design, if the user does not have modify permissions, then none of the tabs will have to be rendered. Gilbert made some changes, and now the user without any modify permission will just see a blank screen. Next slide. While trying to add a new disk in the VM reconfigure form, the default values for the unit and bootable fields were incorrectly being set to an empty string. This meant that if the user never changed these fields, it would only look like they were setting them to GB and false respectively by default. But later when we try to submit the form, instead of MB, it goes to GB. And David found out this issue and added a few logic to the schema files to fix this issue. Next slide. Gilbert attempted an enhancement on the settings tab by converting it into a React component. There was an old dialog box used to confirm abandoned changes, which also got converted in this PR. Next slide. For this PR, there was a requirement from one of our clients that they need a feature to insert links and paragraphs to the long description field of the service catalog item. So we introduced a React Markdown package, which acts as an editor. And we also provided a live preview of the editor contents that's seen right next to the editor. We integrated this new component into our MIQ structured list or the summary component. And now we can import them into other summary sections if needed. Next slide. This PR is about fixing the styles across the pages when we change the browser width. The style of the summary section or the MIQ structured list component are also affected with these changes. Next slide. This is one small enhancement PR to separate the name and description in the service catalog item page. Now we can see that the name and descriptions are rendered in 2 rows in both the summary and the form pages. Next slide. For the others, Gilbert removed a few unused legacy settings code from configuration controllers and its helper files. Jason updated the yarn.log file. Gilbert fixed the accessibility violation issues in the utilization and the dashboard pages. Gilbert also fixed the failing snapshots for the workflow credential mapping forms and quinteros. Gilbert fixed the incorrect settings tab area labeled by ID. Joe added a default standard error handler to generically rescue the exceptions. And yeah, that's all from the UI side. Over to Adam.
There we go. Thanks, Jeffrey. So the sprint, we were able to make use of the new version of Fog Google that got released with our pagination fixes. Previously, in order to get that fix out to our users quickly enough, we had to fork the gem. Now that the proper upstream project has released the fix, we're able to get back on the official Fog Google gem, and so we've updated Manage IQ providers Google to 1.23, and we dropped the fork from rubygems.manageiq.org out of our core gem file. So it's nice to get back on the official version. For OpenStack, as part of the Ruby 3.1 effort, OpenStack was storing they're storing active record objects in the notification options, which is causing issues with the YAML safe load. And instead of trying to add those classes, it turned out we weren't needing any of these objects to be serialized, so we just dropped them. And for flow and workflows, we were able to drop a dependency on more core extensions, which at runtime was the only thing bringing in active support. So if you're using flow by itself, that should reduce the size of the required dependencies a little bit. And we also added documentation for adding Docker registry for both appliances and Kubernetes to the ManageIQ documentation. That's it for providers. Over to Joe.
Thanks, Adam. For platform enhancements and improvements, Gilbert removed the backend code defining the no longer use default view feature that was found in my settings. Next slide. For platform bugs, I fixed the issue in the plugin generator where it wasn't generating the before install with a step to run apt-get update before it was trying to install. This was leading to sporadic test failures. So I made that change, and hopefully we no longer have these issues. And for the next one, Keenan fixed the stack level 2 deep bug that was deep in the bowels of Automate when trying to reload Automate service models. So he just changed it to do a load instead of trying to do a require, and hopefully that resolves that issue. And that's it for platform.
All right, and that concludes our Sprint 227 review. The next Sprint review 228 will be after the holidays on January 10th. So that'll be 4 weeks from now, more or less. And it will be at the usual place and time. And as always, I'd like to thank all of our presenters today, all the contributors to ManageIQ, and our community. Thanks, everyone.